Gentlemen and Mark, welcome to, what is this, episode 283? This is actually 283, right, Mark?
That's a shit ton of episodes.
That's way too many episodes. I think we should probably stop. Thanks for tuning in,
let's-
guys. We're going to go.
This is it.
Seriously, though, thank you for tuning in. We are here with our old friend Joe from Guy at the Movies. Joe, say hi.
Hi, guys. What's going on?
Joe is a movie critic extraordinaire. He just likes to dangle things above us that we don't have access to, like the fact that he gets to see Batman later this week. But can you give us a quick rundown, once you finish your coffee there, about... I'm just fucking with you. About what you've been working on lately and what we can expect next.
Yeah, just good to see you guys again. It's been a while. Just catching up with a lot of screeners. I was doing Sundance earlier this month, and that kind of took up a lot of time. So there's a lot of good stuff that came out of there. And what's cool is a lot of the streamers picked them up. So, just real quick on Hulu, Fresh with Sebastian Stan is coming out beginning of March. Really screwed up movie, but really awesome. And then Cha Cha Real Smooth is one that Apple picked up. Sounds ridiculous, but it's just a really good heartfelt movie.
I
With
hate
Dakota
that
Johnson
fucking
as well.
song. I hate that song so fucking much.
It gets stuck in your head too every time I say the name of the movie.
So this is probably a stupid question, but all the movies that come out at Sundance, is that like the premiere? Is that the first time anyone's seeing them? And are they not seen to the general public for like a few months after that?
Yeah, not totally. Sometimes they've already premiered at other festivals, but they're just trying to get better play out there. But a lot of them do premiere there, and it's the first time when they're trying to sell it to a distributor. So It was weird this year because it was all online. They were talking about how like when Sundance is in person, the deals are like flying off like people are going nuts trying to get a movie and negotiate because they see the reaction of the crowds there. But online, you can't judge it.
Yeah.
But it's open to the public. I mean, you can buy tickets to see this stuff. It's just not always the easiest to figure out like what's what. But yeah, it was a good time. So just trying to recoup from that, keeping up with our Guy at the Movies podcast every week, and looking forward to the Batman next week.
Dude, I'm so jealous. Oh.
You hit on the heavy part there with Sundance is these producers come in and they have no idea what people actually like, so they just gauge their business deals based on, the crowd went nuts. When in reality that crowd could not. Maybe it doesn't represent the entire, demographic that you're shooting for, but I always find that interesting. I love we used to joke about it all the time, the little leaf things like around this is a Toronto International Film Festival, and it doesn't mean a goddamn thing, but that is super cool that you get to go.
There's always like a 75% chance that I'm going to hate a movie if I see that little leaf thing. But yeah, it's weird. I was supposed to go in person, but to be honest, I was glad that they put it all online because of COVID, but it's expensive. I mean, so like think about the people that are out there that are able to spend $500 a night on a hotel room or $1,000 a night, fly out there, spend a few days, all that stuff. Like, that's not the general viewing public.
Is it still in Salt Lake City? Is that where it was?
Yeah, right outside of there.
Okay. I just always think of that Entourage episode where they all go. Did you guys watch that?
Dude, you could not be any more of a 30s white dude.
That's all I think of. I'm like, oh, that's what happens at Sundance. And everyone's just on a snowmobile just driving around this little town.
They probably used to be that way.
Was that where they premiered Aquaman?
With each other? Yeah. Yeah, right? I think so.
Was it? No, that was Queens Boulevard, right?
Queens Boulevard,
okay, yeah.
Jesus.
God, I love Entourage.
That fucking show. Of course.
Is that surprising as a 30-year-old white man that I love Entourage?
No. You also love smoked meats and craft beers and everything else. I have to plug this because it's on top of my mind right now. The episode I did with Andrew at Roll for Persuasion, the podcast, came out earlier this week. I had a lot of fun talking to him, and it was a lot of like, wow, we're two white 30-year-olds who have podcasts. Well, all right. But it was a good time. Check it out. He's a good dude. What else? Oh, shit. Yeah, we were talking about sports. We're really in a dark place this weekend. The fucking NBA All-Star break, there's nothing right now. I'm pulling my hair out.
Wait, are you saying you did not watch the All-Star, or not the All-Star game, the celebrity game last night with MGK?
I did. That's how desperate I am. I was so bored. I was playing Pokemon, and I got to have something on the background. But I eventually was like, all right, I can't even do this. So I just threw on Futurama reruns.
Futurama coming back. You pumped about that?
I should be, but John DiMaggio's taking a stand, and I don't blame him. But yeah, that's going to be really hard to swallow if we don't get the voice of Bender and half the other characters on that show back. We have a trailer for this later on, but Diabolical, I heard his voice in that too. He has such a distinct voice. It doesn't matter which direction he throws it. Have you seen his documentary?
No.
It's called I Know That Voice, and I can't recommend it enough. I know that we're kind of close in age, so like you came up with these same characters and the voices that they pulled out of there, it's incredible.
He does not look how I thought he would look when I see his picture.
Are you looking at his Twitter profile picture? Because
no, just what popped up on Google.
Okay, his Twitter profile picture, he's like all disheveled, and it's like an upward shot, so his beard's sticking out. Yeah, he's a weirdo, but I love him. So, Mark, you're going golfing today? Explain this to me.
Yeah. For the listeners that are golfers, I'm sure you know what this is, but they've been coming out with these simulators.
White guy.
That's me. Golf on the weekends at a simulator because I can't golf in Chicago right now because weather fucking sucks. Yeah, it's basically just a golf simulator where you hit. It looks like you're actually kind of playing the course and you're hitting into just a screen, but you can play over like 200 courses, and there's a bar in this place, and you just get fucked up with a bunch of your white friends, right? And play golf. What else do you do when you're just a 30-year-old white guy?
Smoke meats, make a podcast. That's it. Those are your options.
We should do a 30-year-old white guy drop. Just like 30-year-old white guy.
I'm going to need you and Rick to harmonize on that because I have a terrible voice, but yeah. Joe, are you a golfer?
Not at all. The last time I golfed was for my buddy's bachelor party, and I was put with like the kids that were there. Like we did it in 2 batches, and I was bringing up the rear with his brother and stuff because I never golf. I'm terrible at it. Absolutely terrible. It's like skating. Like if I back in the day, if I would go like ice skating or something for the holidays, if I had a couple years in between, it was like learning how to walk again. Like I just regress back immediately. But
well, you played hockey though, right?
No.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, you just a hockey
Everyone always thinks I did because I'm a big hockey fan. Yeah.
Big hot guy. Did you ever have flow, Joe? Like a hockey flow?
Nope. Bowl cut. Rock the bowl cut.
Bowl cut. Nope. Completely opposite. Bowl cut. That's what I had.
You know what, man? I just appreciate the out of left field shit.
Sincere report. Hey, why don't you tell Joe about the time where I taught you how to hit out of the sand trap?
I'm not telling that story again. You remember, Joe, the joke that I made about how big Mark's kid's head is? And like, I'm not contributing to this anymore. So no, thank you. I will not tell that story again.
Fine.
What did you guys like commercial wise? I want to talk about 2 things out of the Super Bowl, if we don't mind. Commercials and the halftime show. The halftime show has been beaten to death, but I just want like quick reaction to that. Let's start there. Mark, you're more of the music guy compared to me. Joe, I'll have to have you weigh in.
So are you asking me about the halftime show or the commercial?
What did you think of the halftime show?
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted my commercial take. Halftime show was great. I think it was one of the best halftime shows that we've ever had at a Super Bowl.
One of the best? Okay.
You think it honestly beat Tom Petty's 30-year-old white guy?
Prince's was way better.
That's a joke. I'm not a big Prince fan. I know a lot of people love that halftime show. It just didn't resonate with me. I do think this was maybe the best halftime show, in my opinion, that we've had.
Okay, fair enough. I would have liked some more upbeat stuff. Mary J. Blige went out there, and she's just like, all of her music is sad. I don't want to listen to sad music at the fucking halftime show. Give me some upbeat stuff. Joe, what'd you think?
I thought they scheduled it well, like putting her in the middle there to, just try to bookend it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it a lot. I kind of agree with Mark. I think it's one of the best in recent memory, at least. Of course, like some of the more poppy stuff was just a better spectacle. But I liked it a lot. I wish Eminem would have done a little bit more because I feel like they were really pumping him up to be like a big part of it. And he's like, I'm going to do lose yourself. And that's it. That's all you're getting.
Yeah. He can't sing any of his other songs on TV. Just every other word would be gone.
All the angry 30-year-old white guys would have loved more Eminem.
Yeah, that's true. I think that the show was saved by Kendrick Lamar, and I know that makes me sound like a Zoomer, but I don't care. I don't need to hear all these 40-year-old songs, but also the joke that came out of it that I really has just been beaten to death at this point is like Tupac is officially dead, because if he didn't come back for that, then
yeah,
he's not hanging out in Cuba somewhere.
Right.
They didn't even do a hologram or anything.
All right, Joe, did you have a favorite commercial?
Didn't they do a little nod to him though, like with
California Love,
with Dre? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I did. Sorry, I was just gonna say I appreciated the meme though that came out after the halftime show, where everyone was speculating on what the kneeling meant that Eminem did, and people are just like, his knees are weak, his arms are heavy, like that's why he was kneeling. It's just like, internet never fails.
Yeah, I got nothing to add to that, but
best commercial, I think I really enjoyed the one with what's his name, Eugene Levy. I thought that was hilarious. It was a Nissan commercial, I think, and he was just like absolutely quirky and crazy. And then the one, I think it was an Alexa commercial maybe, but it was Colin Jost and Scarlett Johansson. I thought that was well done too.
Yeah, that was. I miss the old days when we used to just get the most outlandish wild shit, and now everybody's so tame and scared to take risks with it. So I really would like to have seen somebody do, and it used to be Doritos or something, they would come out and like just hammer you with this wild shit, and that's what I miss. But instead we end up with cringy Dr. Evil.
I have a question though, like the one with Matthew McConaughey was for Salesforce. So like if you're familiar with Salesforce, like who are they marketing to during this Super Bowl? Because it was so pointless to me.
I think it's kind of like how a lot of companies will operate overseas at a loss just for the prestige of it, to say like, yes, we have an office in London. I don't really think of it any different than that, because if you're a Salesforce doesn't go to small companies for the most part, right? You're talking about like billion-dollar companies, so I'm pretty sure that they know where they're going for their CRM software. I don't know. That's lost on me as well.
It's just a random inclusion to me.
Mark, I already know your favorite commercial.
What, the animatronic?
No.
Depressing ass commercial?
The meta commercial?
Oh, that was pretty funny too.
That guy's... What is Mark Zuckerberg doing? I was reading an article earlier this week that he's already dropped $500 million trying to get Meta off the ground. Nobody wants this.
I think you'll be surprised as a 30-year-old white guy. My favorite commercial was just the QR code for Coinbase.
That's
around on the screen, and the fact that the fucking QR code didn't the site crashed. Did you see that? You would scan the QR code and the site wouldn't even load because it crashed. There was too many people doing it.
Somebody who's in charge of their servers definitely got fired over that.
Yeah, it was. I actually really liked that idea because I appreciated the amount of time that they left it up there. I was like, if this was up there for 10 seconds, it would have failed. But the fact that I want to say it was like at least a 30-second commercial. It just stayed up there for a while, and people were like, what the fuck is this? But after like 15 seconds, everyone I was with was like, fuck it. And everyone took out their phone and they were starting to scan it. So
they got you.
It eventually got us, and I didn't think it would. But yeah, the fact that the site just ended up crashing is hilarious.
I was sure you were going to say it was the Arnold as Zeus commercial.
Yeah, I was sitting with my friend, and he's like, that's not Arnold Schwarzenegger when they did the first one, because they have like 3 of them or 2 different commercials for it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, it's depressing to say, but that is what Arnold looks like right now.
I know you guys probably don't care. I've seen all these electric vehicle commercials and all this stuff. So my brother's been working for Chevy dealerships forever. And I texted him as soon as I saw, I think it was the new Silverado, the electric Silverado. I was like, so say I ordered one of these now. What are the chances it would be under $100,000 and I could get it anytime in the next year? And he just said 0. So I don't know. They're really spending all their money on shit that they can't even deliver on right now. Speaking of Salesforce and everything else, but they don't care. Mm-hmm. That's nuts to me. But
everything was electric and electric cars and crypto. That was pretty much like 75% of what we saw.
That was the entire story of the Super Bowl. Oh, plus there was a football game, but
yeah.
All right, let's talk about actual movies here. I'm going to play a drop.
News to us.
Maybe. All right, not coming through. Doesn't matter. Gentlemen, we also, coming out of the Super Bowl, got some trailers. So I want to start with Nope from Jordan Peele, because this one I think is the most intriguing. This is the polar opposite of everything else, where we're seeing way too much of it. And this one still leaves the illusion of mystery there. So, Joe, I bet you know more about this than either of us combined. No, nothing?
Not really, honestly. I mean, the rumor is that, or I guess the conjecture is that Nope stands for not of planet Earth. That's what everyone's believing or thinking. Mm-hmm. The trailer was fine. I'm not a huge Jordan Peele guy. Sean and I argue this all the time on the podcast. I really like Get Out. Us was fine. And I'm just hoping that it doesn't like get pigeonholed here and he keeps doing the same thing all the time. Mm-hmm. But I really like Keke Palmer in this trailer. I thought she was like living her best life. So she's pulled me in. Daniel Kaluuya is just the same like moody dude every trailer that comes out, but I think he's a good actor. So I'm into it. But I just don't know what to expect.
I hope Stephen Yeun has a big part in it because I really like him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, do you have any speculation on what the hell this could possibly be?
No, I do hope we get a look at the alien. Whenever there's something with alien life, I hate the movies that don't show us the alien eventually. I don't care if it's in the last 10 minutes of the movie. I'm just like, show me the fucking alien already. Just show me what it looks like. Because I kind of judge movies based on their take on what an alien would look like. And I really hope Jordan Peele has some, fucked up vision for this where it is an alien movie and the aliens are just out of this world.
That just triggered something in my brain. Like, I completely agree with you, and I think that's why I didn't really care for Arrival. And I know everybody else loved it, but I just didn't like the aliens, I don't think.
I'm in the same boat as you, though. I was a big fan of Get Out, but after that, even like Candyman, I was like, meh, it's okay. I
liked Candyman a lot.
I don't think since Get Out, he's really had that movie where everyone's talking about it or should be talking about it. I feel like anytime Jordan Peele does put out a movie, people will talk about it because it's Jordan Peele and he's doing another movie. But I'm just kind of like, all right, let's get something like Get Out again.
I think he's an M. Night Shyamalan. I think like that's ultimately what Jordan Peele is going to end up being. Is that there's going to be some social commentary in the movie. You're waiting for the twist, and they're not going to judge it based on the movie itself anymore. It's how big of a twist and how surprising is it. And Shyamalan's like struggled with that for years now. So I don't know.
Reminds me of that old Robots Chicken sketch where like he would just pop in out of nowhere and just say, "What a twist!" Like it didn't matter what was happening; he would just come in and ruin everything and just say it was a twist.
This might be a bad take, but one of my favorite, actually, might be my favorite alien movie is Signs.
That's a great movie.
I like Signs.
That's not a hot take, I don't think.
Speaking of Shyamalan, yeah.
Okay. I hope that what happens is that aliens come and they're horses and they just realize that like we've been essentially enslaving or taking over their people, and it's just like a vengeance thing from horse aliens. I don't know why. This makes me think of Sorry to Bother You, where the ending was just completely batshit crazy. I want more of that. But
I hope that there's like a threat the entire movie, and then the last 10 minutes is like them finally landing and getting one look at us and being like, nope, and just leaving.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
That's good. I like that. Okay. We also saw more of Moon Knight and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. In my notes that I sent to you both, it just says, shut the fuck up about these movies until they come out. And I know Moon Knight's a TV show, but I've seen enough. Just stop showing me footage. Stop revealing twists. There was a semi-large tease in the Doctor Strange trailer, and I don't want to know that stuff anymore, so I'm going to try to pull a brick and just completely avoid it until I get to see the movie. Joe, what'd you think?
Good luck. I liked the trailer a lot. The one that was attached to Spider-Man No Way Home, I thought was really shitty. So seeing this and like get fleshed out a little bit more, it was nice to see. The thing with Marvel is you never know what the hell's going on because they just throw shit into a trailer and some of it might be altered from the final product, right? So I'm into it. It's the same thing that I worried about with No Way Home, and I'm glad it didn't happen. Just overdoing it with the cameos and stuff. Like I saw something earlier that Daniel Radcliffe is rumored as an X-Force Wolverine, and like it's just getting ridiculous.
Yeah, but somehow Spider-Man threaded that needle, and it's a really fine line that you've got to walk. Yeah. But I mean, if anybody can do it, it's probably Marvel. They'll figure it out.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I guess all the random cameos, like I feel like 30 minutes of this movie is going to be like Reddit on screen with like Tom Cruise as a Iron Man variant and John Krasinski as a Reed Richards variant and all that stuff. I'm not totally into that. Like, I feel like that takes away from it and cheapens it, but I'll probably be wrong and probably be loving it after I see it. So,
yeah, they have a way of just like gaslighting you into liking their movies.
Absolutely.
Whatever, man. It's a solid business model. Mark, what did you think of Moon Knight?
I'm absolutely here for this. I'm not the only one to say it, but this is, in my opinion, Moon Knight just seems like the Batman of Marvel. So I'm down for it instantly. I just hope it gets really bloody. He beats the shit out of a lot of people, and they kind of stick to what we know and love of the Moon Knight comics.
He's not Batman because he's not a trust fund baby. But I get the comparison. So
I'm looking forward to it. It must be good because they just pulled the directors for Loki season 2. So the two guys that were helming Moon Knight are over on that. So there must be some quality shit coming our way with that.
You know what's really nice and a nice change of pace is to have somebody else on the show who like rifles through the news as vehemently as I do. Mark, you'll do it every now and then when it's something that specifically interests you, but
that I care about. Yeah. It's got to be about me. What matters to me?
Okay. I have said in the past on this show that I have never seen Lord of the Rings. For me is a complete blind spot. Never read the books, never seen the movies, never seen any of it. Wow. I know I've already gotten yelled at by so many people who listen to this show. I don't care. Every time somebody yells at me about this, I just add another year. It's a year. I will watch this movie 1 year from the last time that someone yells at me about not having seen it. So I will flip this over to one of you. Just fucking talk about it. I got nothing.
I should pull your 30-year-old white guy card for not seeing Lord of the Rings.
I'm technically Native American, so...
Yoink it.
All right. So who's got thoughts on this then?
Dude, it looks sick. That's all I'm going to say. Go ahead, Joe.
I'm hopeful. I thought the trailer or the teaser looked cheap. It looked World of Warcrafty to me. Like just overdone and like whether that's the CGI or the makeup and stuff. It worries me that they spent so much money on this series or this season because I'm like, what are you overdoing? Like you're doing something wrong here. But I hope I'm wrong. It looks solid. I mean, the idea of it is solid, I should say.
Didn't they spend $1 billion on this?
It was like 400 and some million for the season, and then like another 300 and something to secure the rights. And
Jesus.
And that was before they even did like a second season or said they were going to. But I guess they're kind of locked into it now. That's why our Amazon memberships are going up.
I assumed it was just because of like effects, but the rights. All that makes sense. Having to front a lot of money for that. No, it's just I was just saying this is a behemoth of a franchise. Like when those movies dropped, people were all in for seeing the last. How many of them were there? 3 or 4?
3,
not including The Hobbit,
and then 2 prequels.
Yeah,
right.
I think so.
I shouldn't be talking about this.
There was a 3 in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Then there was the Hobbit. Did 2 movies?
I think that's right.
Okay. Do you guys remember when they would have like the marathons though? I specifically remember going with my cousin who was the biggest fan of Lord of the Rings. And I sat there through 3 straight movies and I was like, dude, I can't. I don't know if I could do this again. Like this is nuts. That's when No, this was another cousin.
Oh, I was about to call Pat a fucking nerd.
That was when it was like you would hear a movie being like 2 hours and 45 minutes and you're like, hell no. And Lord of the Rings, I feel like, was one of the first to start doing that. People were like, oh my God, they're so long. But now we're just used to it. But I'm not surprised they spend that much money on it. It's Lord of the Rings. I'm just thinking visually, you have to. It is from a cinematic perspective, I think it's one of the most gorgeous looking movies that, especially with the time frame it came out. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but what they did when that movie did come out is very impressive. And
it's a tall
I would
order.
highly
Though.
recommend watching it. Yeah,
it's a tall order because like Lord of the Rings is one of those things that one of those properties that like our parents or like our parents' age, like that generation, love and they grew up with reading them and stuff. So I think the first Lord of the Rings series did a solid job with that. I think The Hobbit did as good of a job as it could. I think it was a little overkill at that point when it came out with just the long ass movies and going back to that world. But now with the Rings of Power, they're like exploring stuff that hasn't really been told before. And that's always tricky because even like these new iterations of, you know, not to always relate everything back to superheroes, but they're like, oh, it's an interpretation of Superman or whatever. And I always think about my dad during these movies. He's like, that's not Superman. That's not what they did. That's not in the comics. Like, that's not da-da-da-da. So I just worry with like with this that they have to come out with a splash early, I guess.
Yeah.
And loop people
I'm
in.
with you.
I'm just triggering Elise in the chat because she's telling us that there were 3 Hobbit movies. I said, no, I'm pretty sure there are only 2.
Yeah.
All right. A couple other trailers for newer properties that I guess one's a spinoff. We'll start there. Diabolical. This is basically just supplemental to The Boys on Amazon Prime. This is adult animation with extreme violence, and that's really all you needed to hook me in on this. Again, the voice cast in this is incredible. Don Cheadle, you know, Christian Slater, the names go on. And it's from the people who obviously brought The Boys as well as Invincible, which I was a huge fan of. So, Mark, as a fan of The Boys, where does this sit on your list?
Oh, I'm so excited for this, especially because of the fact they're going to do, it seems like they're doing kind of like an anthology style animation to this where like Love, Death, and the Robots, but this is just going to focus on obviously The Boys, which I'm all in for. The fact that the first episode we're getting is going to be by Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen are doing it. They're writing it. And there's an article that lists out like what the animation style is going to be. Justin Roiland is writing one of them. So
Roiland
it's
from
going to be like
Rick
a
and Morty fame.
Yeah, we're going to get some Rick and Morty type animation. I'm here for this.
I love, to reiterate what you said, I love the different animation styles from episode to episode. It just gives different people a chance, obviously, to show what they do, and also just kind of a different perspective, you know, dark versus light versus, you know, realistic versus Rick and Morty style. So, Joe, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm into it. All the things that you said are exactly where I'm at. I mean, I enjoy more adult animation, but it has to hook me. Like if I'm laying down at night, that's like usually when I watch series, like right before bed. Like it needs to hook me because animation sometimes I think repeats itself with what it's trying to do. So like for instance, some of the shows that are coming out right now on there's like one on Comedy Central. I forget what it's called, but it's like all like armless. It's just the torso and the head. And they're trying to like be like a serious, like adult humor type thing. And it's just forgettable. So I'm hoping that this looks really cool. I mean, the trailer's great, so I'm hopeful.
Shit like the Comedy Central thing you mentioned just makes me feel like you're trying to do it as cheaply as possible. And I don't want to feel that way, obviously. All right, last trailer. And I'm surprisingly excited for this. It's an Adam Sandler serious role, once again. I loved Uncut Gems. I know he can do it. He can act. He doesn't have to be a weirdo in this one. It seems like he's just being himself. But he is a basketball agent, scout agent type guy. And he plays Stanley Sugarman. This is a Netflix movie. He plays Stanley Sugarman, who discovers this guy with a really rough past. It's actually played by a Utah Jazz player named Juancho Hernan Gomez. I probably butchered that, but some more star power here as well. And you know what? If this means we're not going to get another one of his shitty murder mystery movies, because he's got a $1 billion movie deal with Netflix, I'm all for this.
Oh, they just started filming Murder Mystery 2, so don't worry.
And I'll watch it like a dumbass, but it's my own fault. So
I just want Hubie Halloween 2, you know.
I liked Hubie Halloween. I thought it was good.
Of course.
He didn't he didn't do too much. Like that one was more adult, I think, than some of the other ones that he did. And I get it. He has kids and stuff, but it wasn't grown-ups, thank God. But Mark, what do you think about this?
I don't know if I could just see Adam Sandler being like a real serious basketball coach. I feel like he never played basketball, and like Samuel L. Jackson,
basketball.
like thinking back, trying to think back to like this isn't the first time we've gotten a serious basketball coach inspiring type movie. I think of Coach Carter instantly.
Not a coach,
And
he's an agent.
Who?
Adam
Samuel
Sandler. He's
Jackson?
not a coach in this.
Oh, he's not? Okay. All right. Well, then I just completely missed that in the trailer. Overall, though, I'm not as excited for this as you are.
Okay. Joe, tell him why he's wrong.
I'm into it. I like more serious Sandler. I mean, of course, it's not going to be like Uncut Gems or Uncut Jams or whatever it is right now.
Uncut Jams.
Uncut
It was like me and
Jams.
Sandler, and like we were in Uncut Jams.
What is
Smithers has
this?
no idea
What am I
what's
missing
going
here?
on. Dude, you don't go. You're not a TikTok boy. All right. You're just not a TikTok boy. You're not.
Nope.
Mark, you've been on it for like 3 days. Shut up.
Yeah. No. I've been deep in TikTok for the last couple months. I just sit there and scroll for
obsessive.
30 minutes, and it's so fucking obsessive. Yeah.
Smithers, it's this. I think is she like linked to Kanye now or whatever? But they're interviewing her and asking if she's his muse, and she goes, "I was Safdie's muse when he was writing Uncut Jams." Like the way she
Yeah, she's just so cringy the way she says Uncut Jams.
Uncut Jams.
That's not the
And
cringy
everyone
part of
just
that. Calling yourself someone's muse is the cringy part of that.
True.
That's never acceptable.
This looks solid to me. So it was filming in Philly for a while, and that's kind of cool when you can see like landmarks in Philly, and they're outside Pat's and Gino's downtown, which is kind of neat. And I lived a couple blocks from there for a while, so that's a cool thing there. But again, like Sandler being serious, I think is always a nice surprise, and I think he can do it well. I just always worry when it's a Netflix movie because you never know what you're getting. It's either going to be really good or really shitty, and there's never really an in between. So here's hoping, but it looks interesting.
It's got a lot of money behind it. It's LeBron James's production company, so I think they'll probably pull it off. And I think it was one of those that Adam Sandler wanted to make this movie, and he just, he has this long-standing deal. He could go do whatever the fuck he wants. He has that kind of power, but
wasn't LeBron's company also behind Space Jam 2, though?
yes.
Ooh.
Yes, it was. But I want to say that he contributed, like tried to help write with that, and we saw how that went. Anyways, the TikTok thing made me think about something that I'm going to rant for a second because I need to. This Tinder swindler that we talked about last week, he's got a Hollywood representative now, and he's trying to start a dating show. And I really wish that we as a society could agree to stop making these fucking assholes famous. Like, we wouldn't have to sit through Uncut Jams. Like, if we just stopped paying attention to these fucking idiots. And, okay, Kanye West's meltdown this week. If the Kardashians never come to prominence, he's still making music like College Dropout, and I don't hate him anymore.
Yeah.
We as a society have fucked Kanye West. And I mean, he's an asshole, so he probably deserves it.
He's doing just fine. He's dating Julia Fox, who is in Uncut Jams. And yeah, it's people want to see, drama, and they want content. And that's what Kanye's giving the people. That's what he's giving the people right now. And it's being a Kanye fan, it's tough to see because you're like, dude, just go back to College Dropout. Just bring us something like that. And then him being like, no, Donda 2 is coming out on my music platform. I get it. Like how much money Spotify and Apple Music take from artists. But yeah, there's Kanye's, it sucks to say he's never going to be homecoming Kanye or College Dropout.
He just keeps digging a bigger hole. Like he doesn't, I mean, I know he has management and people around him, but like what the hell do they do? And what's he pay them for? So the thing about Tinder swindler, there's, my sister-in-law sent this to me right before we went on today. He's now saying, the guy Simon Leviev or whatever, that he's not the Tinder swindler. I was just a single guy that wanted to meet some girls on Tinder. I am not the Tinder swindler, a Tinder swindler. They present it as a documentary, but in truth, it's like a complete made-up movie.
Well, of course he's going to say that, but you don't have a job and you're driving around in a Ferrari, so I don't know. That was my ham-fisted way of transitioning us into the news. But I've just got a quick beat thing here. This kind of blew up yesterday or 2 days ago. Stranger Things, which has not been top of mind lately, has finally announced when they're coming back. It's going to be broken into 2 parts, which I kind of hate. But the first portion of that is going to premiere on May 27th, and then 5 weeks later we'll get the rest of it. And they are saying that this will culminate in the ending of this series with Season 5, even though obviously we're going to have a billion spinoffs. Mark, can you even remind me where we left off in Stranger Things?
No, I don't remember.
All right.
I don't usually remember anything to begin with, but I especially do not remember where we left off with Stranger Things.
I think we probably do that to ourselves because we consume so much content, and now you've added TikTok to that for some ungodly reason.
I do agree with that. Hopper, that's all I remember. Hopper, they made it look like he died or whatever, but
he's in Russia.
He's not dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't kill he's the favorite character of everyone. They were never going to kill him off.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see. It looks like, well, it doesn't look like, it's obviously true that we're going to be seeing portals to the Upside Down all over the world. We'll get some looks at other, I guess, experimental patients. But I'm, obviously, as soon as this comes out, I'll be binge watching it, taking it straight to the face.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Go ahead, Joe.
I just don't like the split the season thing, especially when it's 5 weeks apart. That just seems really stupid to me. But
there's got to be something in there. Some genius marketing dickhead at Netflix is like, well, people will watch the first part twice because they won't remember what's happening, and they're right. But
it's probably a really good. Yeah, there's a cliffhanger or something probably in that last episode of the first part that's going to get people talking or something like that.
100%. All right, that's all I got for news. Let's move into our recommendations.
Here's some money. Go see a Star Wars.
So I want to kick this off because, Mark, I owe you an apology. You were telling me how good The Legend of Vox Machina was, and I got into it. It graduated. It's so good that it graduated from the thing that I watch in the background while I'm working to, okay, I have to fully pay attention to this. I can't have split attention. So I owe you an apology for that. I love the comedy in it. It's, if you don't know, it's from the people who brought you Critical Role, Matt Mercer, and it's all the voices that you know. The characters are really endearing. It's incredibly violent, which I'm obviously a fan of. This is just more adult animation. I should just do a podcast strictly about adult animation because it's got to be my favorite thing.
Did you finish it?
I need to watch the finale, which dropped yesterday. Yeah. There's several finales I need to get to, including Peacemaker, Book of Boba Fett. No, I finished Book of Boba Fett. It was just a really forgettable ending. So, Mark, what have you been consuming lately?
Peacemaker is the best show on television and potentially the best show in the last 3 years. Go watch it.
Okay, well, thanks for that long and deep explanation. We should mention as well that they just greenlit season 2.
Of course they did. It's so fucking good.
And this just hit me too. I remember reading a story earlier this week that John Cena is going to play a lawyer who represents Acme, and Wile E. Coyote is suing Acme. Man, I don't know this is like 1980s movie writing. What the fuck are we doing?
Weeks ago on the podcast, we were like, who the hell are they going to get in that role? Like, who are they going to get for this movie? And then when they announced John Cena, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. I see it.
I still will watch it, though. I think that John Cena is one of very few legitimately good people in Hollywood. And he does good things for people and is just in it to entertain. And I don't think that he has any, mean aspirations. I don't think he's capable of it. So I will support anything he does. He's like Keanu, but completely shredded and full of steroids.
Yeah, which that's the one flaw to him. He has come out and just completely denied taking steroids, and it's obvious he's been doing steroids since he was fucking 18, probably.
Exogenous testosterone isn't technically a steroid.
Oh God, okay.
Look, that's the one thing I completely agree with you. Nobody's buying it, dude. Just, it's fine. We don't care. You're a movie star. You're not like a baseball player where it's not allowed. Just do whatever the fuck you want. Get as shredded as you want. I want to see you as big as a fucking doorway.
It's close. He's getting close.
I want to see you have to turn sideways to walk into a room. All right, Joe, you've got a lot of recommendations. You hit us with a couple earlier from Sundance. Anything else that you've just been casually watching?
Honestly, it's not new, but I'm rewatching The League from back in the day, and it's just
nice.
Every time I rewatch it, it's so fucking funny.
30-year-old white guy.
Yeah, right. This is kind of like, off the beaten path, but I'm reading a book about the movie business called Audienceology, and it's fascinating. It's this guy that like has run test screenings of movies for forever, and it's just about like the science behind like the reason why we get test screenings of movies. For instance, like the Batman apparently had a test screening a couple months ago where they showed one version that had a particular character in it and another version that didn't have that character in. And so just how they figure out what should be included, what should not. Like the example recently that I just read about was in Jaws, when what's his name is down at the bottom and he sees a shipwreck, and then all of a sudden the head floats by of like the captain all bloody and stuff. Originally he just like came up on that and it was just sitting there, but they went back and wanted to make it like more gory and stuff because the audience had such a visceral reaction. So they filmed it in, I forget who it was, but they filmed that in a pool. They like dropped the ship in a pool and just went and like did all that right after the test screening. So it's just kind of like neat ways that they rework movies to make them a little bit more marketable or acceptable. It just makes me think about the shitty movies that we see that come out. And I'm like, did you not test screen this? Or were you just too far gone? Like nothing would save it. So yeah, Audienceology, it's actually a really interesting read. Someone had recommended it to me. So this will be like my one book this year that I read, but
I might check that out. I was listening to an interview with Adam McKay, and he was basically describing what you mentioned. And in the original cut of Anchorman, Baxter doesn't come back. He is gone. He dies. And the audience hated it. And Adam McKay went on this rant about like, this is my fucking movie. This is my script. Why are you idiots telling me what I can and can't put in the movie? But essentially the studio made him put it in. And it's so disparate from the original that it's like, not only does he come back, but he comes back and is the hero and like befriends the bear. And like that shit's endlessly fascinating to me. So that was on Smartless. So if you want to check that out, check that podcast out. Not that they need
definitely
from me, but
similar to that, the other example they used, which was interesting, it's a kids movie, but in Ice Age, the original Ice Age, they killed off Dennis Leary's character, the saber-tooth tiger, and people like lost their shit about it. So they were trying to like infuse it with emotion, and then they ended up changing the ending, and they did that whole scene where he's like covering his eyes with a baby and stuff, and like not with a baby, but you know what I mean, like
the baby.
And people love that. So it's just fascinating. Like that's a complete rewrite of the third part of the film, but it's kind of cool.
It's not like, if you want to tell a story, tell your story. I don't want to have to wait 5 years for a director's cut. No, let's not get into that again.
Well, so in test screenings, do they actually like stop the people that just watched it and get like, do they have like a survey, or are they just basing it off of their reaction real time, like while they're watching it?
And there's like mathematical equations that go into scoring it based on what people's reactions are. So I would like to sit in on one of those one time and
same here,
give my feedback, but I don't know how you end up in that. I think one time when I was a kid, I remember I was walking through the mall in Kankakee, Illinois, and they pulled me in and were like, I was with my parents. I was probably 8 years old, and they were like, we'll give you $5 to watch this Woody Woodpecker cartoon and tell us what you think of it. And I was like, fuck yeah, $5. So that was probably the closest I'll ever get to that.
Mark, they do that, like the paper surveys and stuff, or digital now. But then they also will pull some people for a focus group to ask more like intense questions at the end. So it's kind of fascinating, but I totally agree, Smithers. Like I go back, not to get into the whole thing with director's cuts and stuff, but like you hire someone to do a job and like let them do the job, because when studios start getting in the mix, things get screwed up, and that's just fascinating to me that that's such an issue.
And it sucks, because if you're a director and you're an unknown, you have to keep doing that until you get big enough to basically call the shots yourself. So you've got to pay your dues before you have the opportunity to be fully creatively in control.
Yeah.
I was actually involved in one of the coolest food focus groups. You know, where they used to like I think I got like an actual piece of mail, and my mom's like, "You want to go try some like Nabisco cookies and some other shit?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they're going to pay us $100." So I went to this. I was maybe like 12 years old, and there was like so they had like all these Gatorades lined up with different tops, and this was before the greatest cap of all time for any drink was, remember the Gatorades with it like forms to your lips.
Yep.
They were testing that, and I was like, this shit's lit. Like, you have to go with this. This is the greatest invention of all time. All the kids were like,
this shit is lit.
This shit's lit.
All the kids were looking at each other like, oh my God, this just changed my perspective on how to drink a fucking sports drink. This is fucking amazing. But yeah, I was in the focus
and I know
group,
this has nothing to do with fucking movies, but you remember when Coors Light introduced the wide mouth can?
Yep.
And how many extra Coors Lights do you think people drank because it was just, you could drink it harder, you could get drunk better?
If you go to Hershey Park around where I am, they will pull you in to like test out their products and give you like a bag of chocolate afterwards. So they did it. Like, do you know those Bark Thins that came out?
Sure.
Yeah, like some of the flavors are not bad, some of them are shitty, but like I did it the one time with the guy I was with, and we were like back there for like a half hour, and they're like, "Now eat this. Now clear your palate. Now eat this." I was like, I'm a little overwhelmed here.
That's funny.
But
all right,
yeah.
we probably digressed enough. Let's do something else incredibly stupid. Let's do a draft. All right. Obviously, this week we're doing Uncharted, which leads us to the inevitable draft of the best, quote-unquote, video game movies. Joe, I'm sure that you understand the concept here, and I want to, as our guest, give you the opportunity to select the order in which we will be drafting.
Oh, fuck.
You can go.
I'll go first.
That's fine.
Smithers, you've won a lot of these. Mark, you can go second.
Okay. He hasn't won that
it's
many.
all about finding value. But
he hasn't won that many.
Also, I should point out, I think I'm leading this season, so this one won't count towards the total, obviously, because Brick's not here. Mm-hmm. But it will give me a chance to kick Joe's ass at something else. And I think I've won the last 3 that we've done. Step your fucking game up, Mark.
You know what? Actually, let's leave it to Brick. Let's see how Brick likes Joe's choices. Obviously, we'll make it known. Hey, this is Joe. He was on our episode, and he did this draft. But if Brick wants to take Joe's choices and roll with it, then I say we give him that option.
No pressure,
a lot of
Joe.
pressure.
All right,
a lot of pressure. Yeah.
1-1 off the board. Joe, what is your pick?
Mortal Kombat 95. I think it's one of the best, most like true comic book or video game adaptations.
Best, worst.
Best
so bad if you rewind
soundtrack.
It's so good.
By far. I shit you not. If you've never heard the soundtrack, and I'm not talking about watching the movie, I mean listen to the actual soundtrack, because it's 12 songs that are the exact same thing, just mixed slightly differently. Look it up on YouTube. It is insane that somebody got paid to put that together. But
I hated the new Mortal Kombat because
well, there was no
didn't
Mortal
like
Kombat.
it at all. No, it was like pre-Mortal Kombat. But no, when you're making the 95 one look that much better, I'm like, you did a shitty job. So
I didn't hate it, but it didn't feel like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, your first pick.
Detective Pikachu. Just from a fan base perspective, Pokemon, I would say, is one of the largest video game fan bases. And I like Detective Pikachu, especially cute factor. Looking at the cute factor, every character was just super cute, especially my guy Pikachu.
I know that I like that movie really well and the performances in it, because I shouldn't remember Justice Smith's name, but I do, because I don't see him in anything else ever. But yeah, the combination of him and how he played off of Ryan Reynolds as Detective Pikachu, I thought the only way that movie could have been any better is if Danny DeVito was actually Detective Pikachu. So, good choice. I'm going to go with my actual favorite video game movie, the original Resident Evil with Mila Jovovich. I still think that's really well done. It's got a good cast in it. Michelle Rodriguez is in there. Everybody remembers, if you've seen the movie, everyone remembers the corridor scene with the lasers. You can't forget it. It's it's ironically burned into my brain. So I think that's a layup for me. I understand that they've spawned a million other bad games or bad movies off of this. Some of them are watchable. Probably not the best, but yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. And with my second pick on the turnaround, I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Sonic, just because I think it was that good.
Damn it.
A movie that had no reason to be as good as it was, except for John Ralphio. He really made that movie, and I'm blanking on the other lead's name right now. Cyclops. It'll come to me, but he did really well in that as well. And Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik, I can't wait to see him be just a giant fat Eggman with a crazy mustache. I think it's going to be great. Very excited for the second one, and I mean, they're already talking about giving Idris Elba the Knuckles spin-offs and all that shit, so obviously other people agree with me. So Mark, give me your second pick.
I'm just gonna I don't know if I like this because I feel like a lot of people haven't seen this movie. I'm gonna go with the new Tomb Raider, though. I actually had a decent time at that movie.
I really liked that movie. It was just, as soon as I walked out of the theater, I completely forgot it even existed. Nothing about it is memorable.
I don't know. This whole list of video game movies now is just, I forgot a lot of these existed. This is tough. I didn't think you guys were all going to pick these. Everything that got picked were in my top 4 or whatever that we've gone through.
I mean, there aren't very many good ones, so you kind of, you don't have a ton to choose from. Yeah, unless you want to go with the Angry Birds movie or some shit. No, thank you. All right, Joe, you've got 2 picks in a row here.
So I'm going the original Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie, Lara Croft Tomb Raider. I think that hit at just the right time for like that cheesy 90s movie, even though it was like 2001, but I carry that over when I was in high school. So yeah, definitely that one. My other pick is 93's Super Mario Brothers movie. Because that is campy as shit. And John Leguizamo, Bob Hoskins, it's still a classic. If it's on TV, I'll watch it.
You Pennsylvania ass motherfucker, Mario. God damn.
Mario.
Sorry, Mario.
I'm just messing with you, dude. The John Leguizamo thing, like that one sticks with you too. It's another thing that is endlessly etched into my brain is what they thought the Koopas would look like, where they're just giant things with tiny heads. I don't know what kind of drugs they were on, but I want a hit of that.
To this
Mark,
day,
this
day, I'll refer to people as looking like a Koopa. Like, I'll be like, you know what he looks like? And I'll say it, and people are like, what? So I'll be out of the bar bringing it up on my phone.
That is insulting.
Really special individual.
I would really not want to be insulted that way. Mark, give me your third pick.
This isn't my pick, but are we not going to pick Uncharted just because we know people haven't seen it yet?
I mean, you can. It's up to you, but you know that part of this is about catering to the audience.
Absolutely. I'm going to go with... Fuck it. I feel like I lost already. There's no point. Hold on. I'm going to do Prince of Persia with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Some people like it. I don't know why.
It's so bad, but I'm just saying fuck it at this point. Whatever.
Okay.
Was it the cultural authenticity that it did it for you?
Yep, exactly. As
Scarlett
a 30-year-old white guy,
available.
That's spot on.
Oh, that's incredible. All right, I've got my final 2 here, and I would be remiss if I did not select a formative movie for me. 1994's Street Fighter, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, the last role of Raul Julia, who I was a big fan of from the Addams Family movies. We've got Ming-Na Wen, who has only gotten more and more famous. Kylie Minogue was in there. This is a star-studded movie. It's incredibly stupid, don't get me wrong, but for me, like the age that I was when that came out, combined with how much I loved Street Fighter 2 Turbo, I can't not have it on my list. It's going back to the things you said about Mario, Joe. It's super campy. It's everything that a video game movie should be. And I think that honestly, it's been so long since we've had a quote unquote good video game movie because everyone's scared to lean into the campiness that is inherent with a video game movie. Like we'll get into it when we talk about Uncharted, but everybody has to be invincible. they have to have solutions that fall out of the sky because that's how video games work.
Yeah.
So for me, that's a good one. Have either of you seen it?
Oh yeah.
No thoughts.
I agree with you. I'm going to hold off because I'm going to build on that in a minute potentially.
Okay, fair enough. And with my final pick, I'm going to take Hitman with Timothy Olyphant because I actually really like that movie. I recognize that it's not good, but not the Agent 47 one, not with the guy who nobody knows. Timothy Olyphant is an excellent actor. That movie has good ideas. The supporting cast was good enough to make it something that stuck out in my memory. So that is my draft. I will recap here. So my last one, obviously. Before that, Street Fighter. Before that was Sonic and Resident Evil. So, Mark, why don't you go ahead and give me your final pick?
Give me The Rock. Doom.
Fuck.
That movie
Doom
sucks.
with The Rock. It's bad, but at this point, it doesn't matter for me. You know what I hope? When we say best video game movies, people are just thinking like, yeah, the best, worst video game movie. Because they're all fucking shitty for the most part.
Well, it's not like we're picking from a bunch of fucking Oscar winners.
Yeah. Okay, so to recap mine, Detective Pikachu.
Tomb Raider.
Shit, what was my second? Tomb Raider. Oh, yeah, with Alicia Vikander.
Mm-hmm.
And Doom. Well, that was my...
Prince of Persia.
Okay.
I'll just recap for
Prince
you
of
because I
Persia,
wrote it down.
Chilling all.
You've already forgotten that you chose that. I'm sure that you will win this draft.
Just
All right, Joe, give me your last one. Make it a good one.
so bad.
So similar to what you were saying, Smithers, this movie came out right around Street Fighter, and it was so bad that it was so good. Double Dragon, if you remember Double Dragon.
Mm-hmm. That one was close for me.
It was solid. I mean, like Scott Wolf, Alyssa Milano's in it. What's his name? Robert Patrick, and just like trying to get the ultimate power with these medallions. Like I remember watching it like in the house I grew up in, like where I was watching it, which is ridiculous that that's a memory, like a core memory. But
I damn near wore out the VHS, man. That was an excellent movie.
It's wonderful. So mine would be Mortal Kombat, the 95 version, Super Mario Brothers, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, the 2001 version, and Double Dragon.
What was your second one?
Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Mario Brothers. Fuck.
I've
Mario
never
Brothers.
seen that one. I don't know.
Mario.
Who's Mario?
Mario.
Lemieux. All right.
Mario.
Let's move on.
Drinks the
Good
water.
draft, boys. I thought that is, I think, better results than what I anticipated because I didn't think that we could go that deep. I didn't think we'd go 12 deep on video game movies, but
It was fun.
all right.
That's good.
Let's move on to our review. So, as I mentioned earlier, this drop actually, whatever, who cares? We are reviewing Uncharted this week, starring Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. I will say, off the bat, this is surprisingly competent for a movie that has a Wahlberg in it.
You didn't like Max Payne?
No.
Another great video game
If I
movie.
did, I probably would have picked it. But I think this is very interesting because we've got a legitimate popcorn flick by the definition decided by us at the Chumpcast. 39% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 89% from fans. It tells you a lot about the reviewers who are seeing this and writing the reviews. Probably haven't played the games, probably looking at things that don't matter like physics and survival. Like, it doesn't matter that it's a fucking video game movie. Anyways. Joe, I'd like to hear about your experience. Did you go to see theater to see this?
I did. Yeah.
Early screening, obviously.
Yeah, it was an early screening, probably like 15 of us in the theater. I liked it a lot. I mean, I didn't play the video games, but I thought this was actually a lot of fun. It kind of falls into the category of like the fun I would have with a Pirates of the Caribbean movie or like even Jungle Cruise to an extent. Like just a good outing. Like I enjoyed myself, I should say. I thought Holland was actually really good in it, which, you know, he's been in some shitty things outside of Spider-Man, but his performances have always been pretty solid. Except for the camera scene in Cherry that, like, you know, the colonoscopy.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Now I definitely won't.
It's special. But I thought that, honestly, the two standouts here weren't even Mark Wahlberg or Tom Holland. I thought it was the two supporting female cast members. Sophia Ali and Tati Gabriel. They were just so good. There were some twists and turns that they're involved in the movie, and I genuinely was not totally surprised, but like impressed that, like you said, it was competent enough to carry through to the end.
I have to say, I think I should stop seeing movies with Mark, because he'll turn and point something out to me that I can't unsee, and I just don't need it. Tom Holland does this thing to cover his English accent where he just looks like he's got a big fat like dip in his mouth.
Yep.
And now I can't unsee it, and it led me to Mark Wahlberg's constantly surprised eyebrows, his surprise brows, if you will. And I can't unsee it now, where he's just constantly like this. I'm like, good God, man.
We got to get out of here. We got to move, guys.
We got to say hello to your mother for me. Yeah, can't do it.
That's totally right with Holland, though. I noticed that too. It's like always pursed lips. Like,
yeah,
dude. If you walked into a room with him and the other Spider-Men, there's not a lip. There should be 6 lips there. There's not a fucking lip in that room.
There's a movie about that. It's called Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Fair enough. We should mention this is directed by Ruben Fleischer. So we know the story behind this. This movie's been in development hell for 15 years, damn near. It started off where Mark Wahlberg was going to play Nathan Drake, and now it's been so long that he's old enough to play Sully. So that's worth noting, but I think I'm glad that this movie finally got made. It was the reason I asked you, Joe, your experience seeing it, because I do think that the cinematography of this and the settings are gorgeous. They go to beautiful places. Even what they did in New York City felt cozy. Honestly, what it did, and I think the reason why I liked it so much, is that it reminded me of a time pre-COVID where you could like go to a bar and talk to a bartender, and so maybe I'm just sad.
I totally agree with that. I mean, that you're sad. No, I'm kidding. Totally agree. Like, I think the cinematography is awesome. It's kind of like, I kept calling it the Da Vinci Code meets, what was I saying? The Mummy a little bit.
Okay.
But fuck, what's the other? Tomb Raider. So like Tomb Raider meets Da Vinci Code, kind of. Because it does go all over the place. And I thought that was pretty fun. This was a setup for a franchise. You see that, like, you feel it. I said to you guys before we got on that the jokes weren't always like up to par for me, because I was like, oh, they're playing it safe. But again, I enjoyed it for what it was. And at the end, you totally get that feel that there's another one coming, which I'm fine with. I'm like, I'm excited to see another one. So let's do it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. There is a post-credit scene that essentially is just guaranteeing you. And we mentioned before, this is doing better at the box office than what we anticipated. Sony is struggling for these tentpole franchises right now. And outside of Spider-Man, like, what is it? And now it can be this.
Yeah.
And thank God this was better than that shitty Paramount Plus movie that Mark Wahlberg did. God, ugh. I usually, I struggle to enjoy a movie in spite of him. Yep. So, and thank God, just if he's going to be in this, stay in the background. Just go make some more of your fucking propaganda movies, you dickbag.
Wasn't he going to be Nathan Drake?
I literally said that. You are not paying attention to a fucking word I'm saying.
Sorry, I was looking at photos of...
That's like 5 weeks in a row that you've done that. Joe, do you want to start a podcast with me?
I'm open.
All right. Mark, you've been pretty quiet about this. What's your take on this?
Wasn't Mark Wahlberg going to be Nathan Drake in the original?
I don't think so.
Things I liked that Tom Holland, I thought, was just going to be Peter Parker in this movie. Like, there was going to be no way where he could convince me that he wasn't Peter Parker, just how he acts as just a guy from the US. But he didn't remind me of Peter Parker. I thought he did a pretty good job. I have not played the video games like Joe. So I can't really compare to what Nathan Drake is like in the actual video games. Overall, cinematography was pretty badass. There was that one shot where they jumped out of the plane, which you made mention in the theater. You were kind of bummed that they put that in the trailer. And I agree, because that was one of the cooler shots in the whole film, when they were like free falling and try to grab onto the crates.
It wasn't just that. They ruined the climax too. They in the trailer showed the helicopters airlifting the ships, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? Who decided this? And
I agree with that.
I get it. Like, you have to show people that you're serious about making a big budget, like, action flick, but you got to save something, man. We're getting way too slap happy with these trailers.
I did like, to Joe's point, the supporting female leads. Tati Gabriel's hair, though, she has some really cool hairstyles. This one just wasn't doing it for me. I was like, oh, your hair's kind of bothering me. It looks like somebody took like silly string and just sprayed your hair with it. But overall, I think they were a great addition to this film. Her as the antagonist, she did a really good job, Tati Gabriel. And what else did I like about this movie? I want to,
before you get off of that, I really like Antonio Banderas as the crotchety old evil guy too. He's really, that's a niche role for him. He did very well in this. They did some things that really showed you what a bastard he was, which is great. The one thing I'll warn you, if you haven't played the video games, don't be like one of these reviewers on Rotten Tomatoes that goes in and thinks like, well, obviously that's not possible. Yeah, dude, they're gears that are fucking 800 years old in Spain, and they still work. Just suspend your disbelief and go in and shut your brain off and enjoy it.
In a bar.
That's fine too.
That was my favorite part.
I think my favorite part, I really liked the villains in this. I think they actually made it. The Scottish guy who just speaks gibberish, I really thought that was funny, and he keeps going at it, and it's even funnier because Tom Holland's British as fuck when you think about it. But that was really good. So if I have to rate this, I'm just going to say see it, because I'm really only saying that from my perspective. I've played the games. I like the backstories. We talked about the settings and the gorgeous cinematography. So, yeah, for me, it was a hit.
Joe?
See it. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think it's cast really well. Everyone kind of showed up to play. And it's just an enjoyable ride.
And I think
see it as well.
Sorry, Mark. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I knew you were going to jump in, and I still did it anyways. But this goes back to my theory that your expectations will greatly influence whether or not you like a movie, because I thought this was going to be dog shit, and I was blown away. So, and if I was expecting it to be really good, I'd probably just be like, yeah, it was fine.
Yep.
But Mark, please go ahead.
See it. I'm looking forward to the roles that Tom Holland's going to be getting in the future, especially with his the jackness that I'm seeing now. I'm wondering how big he's going to actually get. Joe, I didn't know if you noticed that he's a pretty good looking dude. And there was that one scene where I'm like, I think he got pretty jacked. He might've been bigger than he was in Spider-Man.
He definitely was.
He definitely got jacked.
Spider-Man, like, I think it's a cognizant, like, don't get too jacked, because that's not what Spider-Man's supposed to be. So, like, you don't want him walking around looking like John Cena in a Spider-Man suit. He's supposed to be a gangly kid. So yes, he definitely bulked up for this role.
He's one of my Hollywood husbands, but I'm with you. I said this afterwards. I was talking to the rep from the company, and I said from the marketing company or public, whatever it is, and I said, like, this is kind of like the Tom Holland era that we're entering into. Like, he's sought after, and he's going to be in a lot of these roles. Because even thinking about, Cherry was a shit movie, but he did The Devil All the Time, which wasn't a bad movie either, and he was pretty solid in that. So they're going to pull him into a lot of stuff. I think it's just going to be interesting to see if he can continue to distance himself from his character of Spider-Man and Peter Parker. And this is a good first step towards doing that.
Yeah, it's weird. He's got range for sure. I don't know why I just always think, though, going into his new movies, I'm like, oh, I just hope he just doesn't remind me of Peter Parker. But he's proven Devil All the Time, or whatever it was called. He did great in that. And he proved that he can act, man.
Even in this, Mark, the emotion, like the range, like there's a part where he has to show emotion, and a lot of times that comes across inauthentic and cheesy. But I was all about it here. I was like, man, that's pretty good. Like, even got the tear going. Like, this looks, good job, Tom.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, boys. I could probably sit here and talk about this shit all day with you, but my kid is awake, so we're gonna wrap this up. Joe, thanks again for joining us. We really appreciate your input. Always, you're very knowledgeable on movies, which is a welcome change to this podcast. I'm going to give you a chance now to go ahead and plug everything you got going on right now, maybe any big projects you got.
Yeah, big projects, nothing major going on right now other than guidetomovies.com is my website, Guide to Movies podcast with Joe and Sean, my podcast partner, Math Teacher Movies, on Instagram there. weekly podcast where we're just diving into the most recent trailers. Last week was like crazy with trailers, by the way.
Always after the Super Bowl, though.
Yeah, it's insane. But trailers, latest movie reviews, and the latest news, we really dive into all the casting news and all that stuff. So check that all out. I, like Mark, have fallen into TikTok world. So trying to get TikTok going because it's actually there's some fun people to interact with there. There's also a lot of shit ones, but you know, it's social media for you.
White guys.
Yeah. Trying.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys,
I still owe you a guest appearance, but you owe me an invitation. So
for what?
To join your podcast.
Listen, you're always very busy. I mean, I don't know what happens when you get married and have a kid. Apparently, it's like, you know, takes up a lot of time.
It's hard.
Yeah, open invitation. We'll get you on at some point. Mark was on last month, I think it was, and we had a good time. So appreciate you guys inviting me on today.
Absolutely. And once again, I'll plug the Roll for Persuasion podcast. I was on a recent episode there, along with some other really actually talented people. I don't know what the fuck I was doing there, but you can find us on Twitch at @the_Chumpcast. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch, you already know that. At the Chumpcast, everywhere we can be found. If you've got some thoughts, maybe you have a favorite video game movie that we left off, give us a phone call at 847-920-6107. Unless you're a scammer, then go fuck yourself. You can text that number as well if you're not comfortable leaving a voicemail. I mean, 30-year-old white guys, who the fuck uses the phone anymore? Mark, you got anything in the works?
No, not really. Joe,
Great.
Thanks for coming on.
All right, this has been episode 283. We love you. Thanks for checking us out. 5 stars review. Thanks. Bye.